Welcome to Treasure Coast Community Health, with 7 locations to serve you better. We have a dedicated staff. And now, here's your host, CEO Vicki Soule.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Community Conversations. You know, Treasure Coast Community Health provides primary medical, dental, behavioral health, pharmacy services, and a host of other things that try to make your health easy to access. But we do age, all of us. We serve individuals from a very early age up to a very senior age. And we really have a soft spot in our heart with a number of pediatricians at each of our sites for our most little citizens of the county. That would be our pediatrics team. And so today, knowing how very, very important it is that we get the kids off to the right start, I've asked to have Franklin Johnson join us from the EOC Head Start program. These are individuals that really work real hard with the 3rd and 4th and 5th year individuals, little ones, to give them a head start at life. So welcome, Franklin.
Thank you.
I promise I won't bite you, because smile. It's always great to have somebody that's working with our littlest ones because they are so precious.
Yes, they are.
Tell me, how long have you been with Head Start?
I've been with Head Start for 14 years.
14?
I started off as a teacher in 2006 and worked my way up from a teacher to a site manager to the education specialist. Now I'm the Head Start director. Like I said, I've been the Head Start director coming upon a year in October. And I'm also a former Head Start student.
Well, I'll bet this is then the best job you've ever had.
Yes, it's exciting.
It is challenging in these times, isn't it?
Yes, it is. With this COVID, it is very challenging.
Yeah. Normally, what's your enrollment in the Head Start program?
Well, we're funded for 340, but we carry roughly 355.
Wow. And you cover Indian River County predominantly, but Okeechobee as well? Did I understand that earlier?
Yes, we do. We have 6 locations here in Indian River County and 2 locations in Okeechobee with a total of 8.
So tell us a little bit more specifically where those 6 locations are at, because while we don't have a huge county, it is pretty widespread in terms of where our population sits.
Well, we have our Fairs Mary Head Start. That's North County.
Okay.
Outside of I-95. We have Douglas Head Start. That's in the Wabasa locations, kind of north of the county. We have St. Helens Head Start. That's in the Gifford area, along with Dodgertown Elementary. We have another location in the South County, which is Citrus Head Start. And we also have Highlands, which is Indian River Academy.
So you're pretty diverse across all of the areas.
Yes, we are.
So do you decide where the Head Start locations are as an agency, or because you are federally funded, do the feds help you with that? You know?
Well,
just curious.
No, not with the location. That's something that we actually have to look for the location, and we have to present it to them in order to receive the funding.
Okay, very similar to what Treasure Coast Community Health does. Yeah. We identify a needy area, and then we put it forward. And if they approve it, if they like the data that we've submitted, then it goes forward.
Yes. Okay,
so how many kids have you got enrolled this year with the COVID problem?
As of right now, we have 188. So that's over half of the 340 that we're funded. Head Start gave us some leniencies towards that enrollment due to the COVID situation. But if it was just a regular year, we would have to meet that 340. If not, then we have to have basically an action plan.
But you're still looking for parents who want to have their children get this head start in life, I'm assuming.
Yes, we still, as of right now, as we speak, still enrolling children into the program. If parents, for instance, is scared of the COVID, if we have room, we have availability for distance learning. So that is, I want to say, a option, but it's in a way it's kind of not an option because of the state funding.
Okay. So you'd prefer to have the kids there
in person.
Certainly, it would be difficult to do it by television or video monitoring when you have a 3-year-old.
Yes, this is going to be our first time
imagine
distance learning in a virtual setting. So, like I said, it's going to be some bumps and bruises, but we are ready for the challenge.
Well, how are the kids doing in person? Are they like all over each other and hugging, or have the parents done a pretty good job of preparing them for a little more isolation? I see that big smile.
Well, the kids don't even know that really it's a pandemic out there. They just see it as a regular day. We told them they wear masks.
Okay.
They do not take the mask off. It's more the adults that we have to keep getting on about keeping the mask on. But the children, like I said, they just see it as a normal classroom setting, and they just carry out the day like a regular day.
So I want to go back to the parents and being able to enroll. If the enrollment is still open, who would qualify to be a part of Head Start, and why are there any qualifications at all? Is it a free program? Is it co-pay? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Head Start, they say is a free program, but it's income restricted. It's mostly geared towards your low income families.
Okay.
So you have to meet the poverty guideline. But there are ways to get in automatic without actually meeting those income eligibility requirements. For instance, if you had TANF, if you're a foster child, those are automatically inside the program. Okay. And you would receive a place at your location due to where you stay at to go to one of those availability of those schools in the county. Well,
that's awesome that they automatically, take the foster kids in. And TANF is the temporary assistance?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if parents find that they are thinking about it, and their child is almost 3, should they be contacting you?
Yes. Well, right now we have a 2-year-old classroom at St. Helens. We call it the early bird. So this is basically our guinea pig. So when we get ready to move to that early Head Start, we'll have some type of, be familiar with
some experience with
how it's ran.
Okay. And do you say you've got openings in both the 2-year-old and the 3 and 4s then?
Well, the 2-year-old is closed right now because we only did up to 8.
Okay.
As for our first year. But for the 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds, there's still availability inside the classroom for in-person.
And so if they wanted to see if they qualify, how would they contact you?
Well, we have our application online at our website at eocofirc.net, or you also can call the EOC office and set up an appointment.
Yeah, I find that a lot of folks just don't have the time or the confidence to do online forms, because if you run into a blank and you're not sure what you're supposed to fill in, no matter how much you scream at the computer, it doesn't answer you. What do you want?
But the good thing about our system, if they leave it blank and they submit it, we still call them back.
Okay.
And we follow up with the information that was online.
Okay.
So if they do panic and they do just complete it and submit it, we will follow up.
Okay. So now I can go back to the Early Bird program. You all have always had the 3-year-olds and 4-year-old classes, but now you're looking to be able to expand that program to a much earlier age?
Yes, we are actually applying for a early child care partnership grant. That consists of bringing in private child care providers, and we're bringing early Head Start into their program. So service that those parents could not receive prior to that Head Start coming, they will receive.
So we're going to take a short commercial break, but when we come back, I want you to have a lot of time. That's why we're pulling it a little bit earlier than normal, just so that we can talk about all the services that Head Start does provide and how Head Start is different than other community daycares. Okay?
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
10, 9, 8.
Why did the countdown stop? Because it's the countdown to Buzz TV channel 1098, Comcast Xfinity, and it's here. Local content for Sebastian, Vero, and Fort Pierce. Tune in for local info, happenings, and fun, including all the great Planet Vero TV shows from 8 to 10 a.m. and p.m. Dial in channel 1098 for Buzz TV on your Comcast Xfinity box and discover what the Buzz is all about.
CEO of Treasure Coast Community Health. Treasure Coast Community Health has been serving Indian River County for 25 years. How did we get here? It took a commitment to you to provide you with the most affordable, high-quality, integrated network of healthcare available anywhere. It took board-certified doctors and dentists and a dedicated staff to ensure that you receive the best possible care. It took more locations to meet the need, and now TCCH has 7 locations, with the latest one conveniently located down the street from Cleveland Clinic Indian River Hospital. Our services are available to everyone, whether insured or not. And at TCCH, no one gets turned away due to an inability to pay. We rely on donations from generous benefactors to continue our much-needed work. We accept Medicare, Medicaid, and almost all insurances. Call us at 772-257-8224 or visit us at tcchinc.org.
10, 9, 8.
Why did the countdown stop? Because it's the countdown to Buzz TV channel 1098, Comcast Xfinity, and it's here. Local content for Sebastian, Vero, and Fort Pierce. Tune in for local info, happenings, and fun, including all the great Planet Vero TV shows from 8 to 10 a.m. and p.m. Dial in channel 1098 for Buzz TV on your Comcast Xfinity box and discover what the buzz is all about.
And welcome back to Community Conversations. This is Vicki Soulé, and if you're just joining us, today I have as my guest Franklin Johnson, who is the director of our local Head Start program here for both Indian River County and Okeechobee. So welcome back, Franklin.
Thank you.
We've had a great time talking about some of the things that your agency is doing, and that, you know, the fact that you have been there both as a Head Start student. I've never claimed that, only because it would reveal my age. I don't think they even had Head Start when. Well, anyways, going back to the topic at hand, you certainly have been there a long time and are deeply invested in the success of your students. So tell me, what is the difference between a Head Start program for 3-year-olds and daycare normally for 3-year-olds?
Well, the difference between is the service that's provided. In your private daycares, they cannot receive the hands-on service as for Head Start. Head Start has a mental health and disability specialist. They have an education specialist. They have a facility specialist, and they also have a parent involvement specialist. So we have all of those in Head Start that some of the private care providers cannot provide to their families.
Sure, it's very expensive to have staff. For most businesses, that's the majority of their expense is the staff they have. And so that's where nonprofits like Head Start and Treasure Coast Community Health do rely on the federal government to help us. And we stretch those dollars as far as we can. But the reality is that it is, as you say, giving a head start. For us, it's preventative medicine. For you, it's preventative care educationally, and involving the whole family in that. And so that's how you were talking about earlier, the 2-year-old program, you know, getting them involved, because we're finding more and more that the earlier we can engage the children as little sponges, the better they do all the way through life. So tell us about an ordinary day for these children coming in.
Well, ordinary day they come in depends on if they're a car rider or if they're bus transportation, because we do provide transportation. They will come in the classroom, wash their hands, come to the table, eat their breakfast, do an engagement activity. They will actually go to a small group where they have a group setting. Then they will break from there. They will go to a smaller group where they individualize, and they will talk about a topic that's on their lesson plans.
Well, now you skipped a very important part for a medical dental person. I have been in your classrooms, and I have seen the 40 toothbrushes lined up at the sink. So in between that little breakfast snack and those group activities, I know you line those boys and girls up and you teach them about dental health.
Yes. Officer Head Start 2 years ago said that we can brush once a day. So we went from twice a day to once a day, and we pick the lunchtime to brush. because they take a nap, a rest. So we didn't want the stuff to be sitting inside of their mouth, so they brush
That's
their
good
teeth.
logic.
It's just like when you're at home and you get ready to go to bed. They always want you to brush your teeth. So if you brush your teeth before you go to bed, you're going to brush your teeth before you take a nap. So we're trying to model something that they can use at home.
I stand corrected, but nonetheless, I'm very proud of the fact that you teach them oral health care from a very early age.
Yes, we do.
And so do they get, you say they get a little rest period after lunch?
Yeah, they have a rest period. They wake up, they have a snack, they'll do music and movement.
Oh.
They will do a story, and then they will talk about the whole day in a cluster.
Okay. And so the kids that could benefit from additional services, say their speech is not progressing the way parents would like it to be, or their teachers see that they could benefit from some additional one-on-one work. How does that work?
Well, we have a lot of partners that we work with. One of our main partners is the school district. We refer them to the school district, and they start the progress from there. And like I said, once that progress is completed and they actually staffed it inside as having an IEP, that carries them through kindergarten. So it's already, like you said, a head start before they actually reach that kindergarten, the elementary atmosphere.
Now, I shared with you earlier, my own grandson really would have benefited from early speech therapy, but my daughter didn't believe that he needed it. How common is that?
Well, it's common because within myself, the African American race, sometimes we be in denial that our child actually need the services, and when we are denied, we're actually hurting the child. As it stated, if you actually start early, it will help in the long run. It will help that child with a lot of heartbreaks, because by that time, if you started early, by the time they reach third grade or maybe out of elementary, they can be out of that staffing or the IEP or whatever type of disability that they have. It's that we be in denial, and it carries and lingers, that it involves a problem within the child. And it can lead to more than just oral, as I'm saying, talking, verbal. It can lead to social and emotional behavior.
Absolutely. And I'm glad to hear that you guys are used to coping with that and trying to point out the advantages to the parents, because I would agree with you. A 3 or 4 year old really isn't into the social stigma of, I need extra services. It's really the parents that are dealing with that. But it is not uncommon and very beneficial for your children. So, we have this Moonshot Moment literacy project going on in the community and set very high goals. We aren't quite there, but I, over the years, have seen dramatic increases in our attention and learning as adults how we can better raise our children and benefit the community for years to come. Do you have some involvement with that?
Oh, yes. The Moonshot Moment, we have the bus. They come to our agency and they actually read, and she actually does activities with them. She also, over the summer, was sharing activities with us that we shared on our Facebook with parents to try to keep that engagement piece going on so they don't lose that summer slide.
Yeah, when I first heard about we've got to get these kids avoiding summer slide, I'm like, but they're only 3 or 4 years old. How much slide can there be?
Yeah,
but reading is not the end point for those that are just focusing on the pre-Ks. It's really about words and what they mean and the fun of sounds and stringing things together and all those reading concepts that get them there. So I'm glad to hear that you guys are really engaged in that. Do you have volunteers read to the children?
Yes, we usually will have a Readers Week that people from the community just volunteer. They will advertise it. If they want to be a community read, they will sign up and they will go to a certain location in the River County and read to the children at a time slot.
So if they're not looking at your Facebook page all the time, watching to see when that week of reading is going to happen, could they just call you and say, I'd like to volunteer as a reader? Let me know when you're going to have this?
Yes, you
particularly with COVID.
Yes, you can volunteer at any time. Just call and ask what's going on, and we will give you information on what's going on. As of right now, everything is on hold due to COVID.
Yeah.
So as now we'll have no volunteers coming. Only people who come on campus if it's a vendor or a physician working with a child.
So are there other things that people can do to help support Head Start at this time?
Yes. Just get the word out saying that we're still enrolling children. There's nothing to be afraid of. We're doing everything we can to mitigate the spread of this COVID. We're doing the hand wash. We're doing the screenings. We have the children and staff wearing masks. We're disinfecting. We even have professionals coming in to spray for the COVID. So we're doing everything we can to minimize or to mitigate this spread.
Yeah, there's been a lot of discussion about learning remotely and the facts of learning as opposed to the social, emotional piece of learning. And certainly it would seem that with little children, being able to be part of a group that's not your family, that will accept good or bad behaviors differently than society does, I would think that would be a huge benefit, that as you put small groups, large groups together, you're kind of teaching them how to behave as a part of a group. Do you worry about the kids that are not participating in that? Do you see some lag? Say a 4-year-old who's never been in a preschool before.
Yes, there are going to be some lag because majority of the children who come in at that age don't have that social and emotional piece. So they're just trying to find about their social and emotional, learning about coping skills. So if there never was introduced, it's kind of hard to regulate that child or themselves to try to like their own emotions. They cannot, so they're going to be all over the place.
Yeah.
So it's best if they come in person so we can teach those skills so they can know how to self-regulate.
I'm so glad you said that because I struggle as a medical professional with keeping people safe, and yet the preventative part often entails more than just the facts, okay, on the pros and cons list. And I do see it, as we talked very briefly before the show started, about our 9, 10, 11-year-old age group that we're raising, and that self-regulation as things change in their world, and how important it is.
And it's very important. And here in Head Start, I want to say about 2 years ago, we really identified that not just children, but families are going through trauma.
Yeah.
And there's all types of trauma that parents go through. What we think is not trauma is trauma. Mm-hmm. And like I said, you see it through the parent actions, and then you see why the child is acting the way they're acting. Yeah. Because of what the trauma that child has been through, and also the parent has been through within their lifespan or coming up.
So you support the parents and the family as well.
As a whole.
And you have parent committees at each center?
Yes, each center has a parent committee because Head Start requires a policy council. So each parent committee has a representative that is voted to come onto the policy council. And basically that's their representative for that school.
Okay.
So that whole school term.
So there's a constant learning going on through the school year, not just in the classroom, but extended out to the parents and families as well.
Yeah, trying to teach the parents, like you said, giving them a head start so when they reach that elementary, they know how to advocate for their child.
Excellent.
They know how to participate on those PTA meetings. Mm-hmm. They know what it consists of instead of someone just telling them something, they're agreeing. Like I said, you should be able to challenge some of the things that goes on in your child educational life.
Franklin, you are awesome. You really have encapsulated the entire purpose of a Head Start program so well. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And if they want to call you, what's the number?
Our number is 772-562-4177. And like I said, you can just ask for anyone.
EOC of IRC.net. Okay, thanks again. I hope all of you out in Radio Land have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you.